I need y'all to understand democracy is incompatible with empire, even if that empire is not immediately intervening. Let me explain. Whenever we think of America intervening in democracy, we often think of things like Iraq, where we literally invaded. But that's kind of the tip of the iceberg. And there are three really good examples of this, which is sanctions, kind of soft intervention, the implicit and continued threat from all those other interventions, and the leftover political violence from previous interventions. So let's go through three examples. Nicaragua in 1990. That's sanctions. America did a lot of things. We funded a terrorist organization of the Contras that are fascists who eventually won that election in 1990. But ostensibly, that election was free and fair, barring some violence by the Contras. But the main turning point was that America said that they would stop the crippling sanctions if the Contras won over the Sandinistas, a wildly popular socialist party. That's not democracy, that's coercion. 2. The threat of invasion. America has invaded almost every socialist country that has existed or attempted to undermine their existence. If you are a historically third world, right, we would call it a peripheral state of the empire, not in the imperial core, you as a government know that. And you know that if you say something that upsets the American empire, you are next on the list. You know that if your party says out of line of the IMF or WTO, your party will be primaried, will be gone against, will be funded against by the CIA. And so you preemptively comply. We can see this across Africa, and now the consequences of failing to follow that line in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. And 3, the leftover violence of previous interventions. The best example by far of this is Indonesia, where Indonesia had the third largest communist party in the world prior to American intervention that, through a very confused and very messy coup d'etat, installed a far right-wing fascist dictator who did slaughterings of over 1 million communists. And the amount of leftism, due to, in part, that continued threat from America, but also because physically they murdered all the communists, there is not a strong left wing in Indonesia. So when you talk about democratizing a country, that is not possible, especially through forceful intervention by America. That, by definition, is undemocratic. But in the context of American imperialism, and as long as that American imperialism continues being a threat, which is reified every single time we physically or interventionally invade, you are undermining democracy, not building it. It's not just that by happenstance these things undermine democracy, but by definition. And so if you want democracy anywhere, that starts with the end of empire here.